Over 90% of micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria are in the informal economy, and they are all around you.
Of the businesses that we lend to, this is the very first time that they're ever accessing credit.
We've been able to bring over 2 million businesses into the financial sector.
What we are able to lend to them is about 2 times of the last loan that they got from a typical financial institution.
What we've done is understand what these people require to then trust whatever service they're going to use.
Every street you visit, in every neighborhood, is teeming with them, from the mom and pop shops to the hairdressers, plumbers, and many other men and women providing important services. This informal economy contributes over half of Nigeria's GDP. Still, it is typically described as invisible, as most of these businesses are said to either be unregistered or not pay taxes to the government. To shed some light on Nigeria's informal economy, we compiled a report and spoke to real business owners about some of the most interesting things we found.
We have been running this provision business for like 2 years now, and the POS business also for like 2 years also. The reason why I started the business is that staying at home, it means nothing. So when they be more and they are growing up, so I need to assist my husband also.
The informal economy is pretty big. It's almost everything people do outside of their formal jobs. I like to say that they're essentially activities of market value that are not formally registered.
I think another interesting thing that we kind of found out was the fact that even though individually they look very small, but as a collective, when you kind of lump all of them together, they're actually a huge part of like the economy in total. And there's really no way the economy would thrive without actually taking care of some of these informal people.
In the past 3 years, we've been able to bring over 2 million businesses into the financial sector, help them to digitize their businesses, help them in growing their businesses, and also, helping them visible in the financial sector.
So if you look beyond mom and pop stores, hawkers, think about a lot of the side hustles people have that are not registered as well.
Even when you look at the number of people that they hire, in terms of how many people work for these informal people, it becomes absolutely clear that you cannot, solve the economic problems that we have without actually addressing these informal businesses.
Taking loan is not bad. It's not bad, but due to the country, the situation of the country, some people doesn't like to take loan because of the interest. Paying back the interest is somehow difficult sometimes.
I've come to realize that you really can't do much without loan. And for like 3 years now, I've been trying to obtain a loan. For me, I've been blessed with people around me. No matter how small, you should be appreciative of things that people do to you. So every other time that I run into some kind of challenge, they've been there for me, my family. But the problem is people don't normally get serious with the loan because it's from family and friends. They play a lot with the loan. So, which is why the opportunity is somehow closing up gradually because our people are taking it for granted.
Yes, I sell on credit for the people I trust, that I know they will pay my money.
Well, credit is important in any economy. It doesn't matter whether it's informal or formal, Credit is vital to helping businesses grow, and the access to credit or lack thereof is what makes doing business here a little more difficult than it is in the West. But speaking specifically to informal businesses, I've seen 2 major use cases for credit, especially recently. And the first one is they kind of use it to stabilize against the economic issues that we're having in the country. So inflation has really eaten into a lot of people's capital, and so they kind of use credit to augment it. So a typical example is maybe you used to buy a truck of cement before and it was 5 million naira, but now a truck of cement is 10 million naira and your capital is still 5 million naira, right? So you then need credit to be able to augment the additional 5 million that you no longer have because of inflation. And the second one is the typical use case, which is growth, right? So I have 5 million naira. I typically buy a cement worth of 5 million naira. I used to sell it in 2 weeks, but now I have more customers and I sell it in a week. So now I need 5 million naira extra, so I can now buy 10 million naira worth of cement. So those are the two most common, use cases for credit, especially in the informal sector, where they don't have as many options as some of the more formal businesses do.
What the people in the informal economy have done is build a very good trust layer around themselves where, I can get money from cooperatives, I can give things on credit to people I know. But we were trying to access that system without a level of, and that's what a lot of people do. Like you try to access that system without the requisite trust that they need to even let you get in. And it was one of the epiphanies we had where, okay, if I'm going to come in, if I'm going to do something for them, then let me do it through people that they know. Banks are in the business of trust. People are not going to give you money if they do not trust that that money is safe.
So while we built our credit products, some of the unique things that we learned were, one, you can't evaluate them the way you do a formal business, So for formal businesses, we like to collect audited financials and things like that. These are things that these people have, never heard of, right? But with that being said, they're actually structured, informal, but structured. They operate, they have business plans, they know what they want to do, right? They just don't do it in the way that some of the more established businesses do it. And so we had to build our credit assessment system to be able to actually assess these people in the way that they do business, which is informal. And I think that's one of the major things that has differentiated us from other people.
Prior to Moniepoint coming into or becoming a bank, commercial banks were never interested in banking these small businesses. I guess basically because the bottom line that they bring to their books doesn't make sense to them. But we took it upon ourselves and feel that everyone and every business deserve financial freedom and financial happiness. And then we decided to bank these people and also help them in growing their businesses.
So our credit product has helped a lot of these informal businesses, first with accessibility. For a lot of businesses, this is either the first time that they've had access to credit or they've had access to credit at the value that we're willing to give them because we evaluate them properly. So we've seen about 30% of the businesses that we lend to, this is the very first time that they're ever accessing credit. And about 70% of them, what we are able to lend to them is about 2 times or 3 times what they would have gotten, or the last loan that they got from a typical financial institution. And that is also because the financial institutions, attempt to evaluate them like they're looking at like some of the major businesses that we know. So one of the major things is really just access, the fact that these people couldn't have access to credit before, or even if they could have access to credit, because of the perceived risk, they were being given amounts that really couldn't move the needle for their businesses. But because we built this specifically for them, and because we spent our time sitting with them to understand how to evaluate them as informal businesses, we are then able to properly evaluate the risk and actually give them, credit that can actually, make an impact in their business.
We pay tax, we pay for extension. Then we bring 2 papers this year. They may give you maybe 20,000. I don't know, but we pay tax. They will reduce it. By the time I want to go and pay the money, we pay tax.
I know it's not straightforward to actually formalize business in Nigeria in terms of the cost that is involved, as well as the bureaucracy around registering a business in Nigeria. Also, some of these business owners believe that formalizing a business exposes them to the taxation, which a lot of them obviously run away from. There is a law that states that if your business is not doing up to 25 million naira in a year, you will not be subjected to payment of tax. And these small businesses, I'm not sure a lot of them do, so much of such money that can, get them to be taxed. I'll start from the partnership, then I will also explain some of the educational side of things that we have done for these businesses, or for these business owners. In terms of partnership, like I said, we formed some partnership with CAC. in such a way that these businesses can be registered, or these business owners can register their businesses through a Moniepoint platform, which is the platform that they are very comfortable and they are used to. And with a few clicks on the platform, they can get their business registered. Aside the ease of registration, we are also doing a lot around working with CAC and to see how we can also reduce the cost of registrations for these businesses. Some of these businesses are so small that the current cost of registration may be a bit on the high side for them. But we are working with CAC to see how this can be subsidized, right? And also working with FIRS to see how we can get them, into the books of FIRS as well by generating TIN number. The importance of the informal economy is clear, as it is a major contributor to the lives of millions of people across Nigeria. This is why we've put this report together as a useful resource for understanding the scope of this part of the economy, and we hope that you find it helpful.